We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this returning we shall learn to lead in love. In this returning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this returning we shall learn to lead in love. In this returning we shall learn to lead in love.
May the light of this chalice illuminate the new paths that we are traversing. May it be a beacon for the beloved community that we are building. May we carry it in our minds and hearts as it shines through in our aspirations and in our deeds. May it be so. Please light your chalice. Our common chalice is now lit.
Good evening. My name's Ginger Luke, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am the Church of the Larger Fellowship's board chair, and I'm delighted to welcome you this evening to a farewell service of thanks and celebration for our recently retired senior minister, Reverend Meg Riley. I think it was in the early 70s when I first learned of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. I envisioned a little girl on a ranch in the middle of the pampas of Argentina, receiving a package in the mail with Sunday school lessons in it and a paper copy of sermons for her parents. Later, I heard of Quest, a monthly newsletter that went out in the mail, and then an 800 phone number which people could call and hear a voice on the other end when they wanted support for their spiritual life. Oh, how Meg has recreated and augmented our presence, our being. We became a quest for meaning. And today, little girls' fathers and mothers are still receiving paper spiritual support if they are in prison. But thanks to Meg's innovation, most of the rest of our communication is beyond print. Beyond print. We can share joys and concerns on a listserv. We can join a small group for spiritual reflection. We can listen to a live talk show on religious and ethical issues on VUU. Every morning, mine comes in at 4 o'clock in the morning. We can receive the Daily Compass, a meditative thought for each day. We can participate in a live Sunday evening worship service. Today, that little girl on a ranch in the Pampas of Argentina and I could see each other on Zoom in the chat after the Sunday service. Weekly, we have received a note from our senior minister reassuring us in these perilous times and often, by example, challenging us to rethink and to take a stand. And behind the scenes, we have supported the UU military chaplains, the beginnings of Drum and Blue, and the transformation of the Unitarian Universalist movement in its anti-oppression work. This is happening today because of the innovative and prophetic leadership of our Reverend Meg Riley. She has truly brought us into the 21st century. With little expertise in technology, she has again and again recruited the people with know-how to get it done. As a religious teacher, she has recruited remarkable learning fellows to follow through with many of her great ideas. And for hundreds of us, again and again, she has offered her life support to keep us afloat. We honor, celebrate, and thank her today with the Church of the Larger Fellowship's farewell service for the Reverend Meg Riley.
Strength was the unmistakable force when she packed the vessel tight to shelter and keep dry. Strength were the forces that flooded her day with tears. Love is what kept her hand holding on to the vessel. And love is the only thing that helped her to let go. She wanted to be hesitant, to strain the moment, to preserve all the moments past, but this was too important to book a delay. The course of her creation depended entirely on a decision made right. Whether there would be any life for her of any wellness was being decided in this choice. And so too was the fate of all the people in her world. In this moment, in this choice, when the air opened her distance from the vessel, in the moment of release, when the air cooled the hands that she had hoped would hold the warmth a while longer, as the same wind shuddered as breath inside her body and surprised her by looking a different mixture of remorse and relief than she had imagined. This was when the great test of her faith began. Her faith in her heart's work, in her wisdom, in the world to turn the next days graciously. I imagine Miriam never thought of the Red Sea divided. or the maturing face of her son in the clothing of her captors, when she looked at her hand and unclenched. I doubt she saw all of the people of Israel so decidedly unshackled when she managed to give the basket a prayer and a final push. Perhaps she had imagined all this. But surely, love and strength, those are the gifts of God, the divine presence, which called the mother in Miriam. And love and strength were what opened her heart, her hand, and let Moses, the dearest of her people, go. There's nothing particularly extraordinary about a church service on Sunday afternoon. It's happened before. Retirement from a job, a devotion, a team can be emotionally intense. But earth and humankind sail on. There's nothing extraordinary about this moment unless we make it so. In this moment now, in this space for grace and thanksgiving, this time, we have decided to stare into a computer on a Sunday afternoon. In this moment, there's nothing extraordinary unless we ordain the moment into difference. Simone Weil once remarked that you have to understand prayer, you got to understand that prayer is absolutely unmixed attention. So I invite you to pray with me this hour to this ministry and this minister. I invite you to witness with me the mystery and the truth of this hour. We have been called to show up and embrace one church, a ministry. We've been called to notice how deep the bond and how delicate the letting go. We have been called from all chapters of Meg's work and wisdom and life to help articulate the divine truth. And with love and strength, we have been called to make this time into holy ground. The work is too important to book a delay. Love and joy are calling us now. Let us prepare then our spirits, our minds, our hearts, our attention to give and receive love and joy and gratitude without limit. Let us make of this a day of joy wherever we are. Let us render the moment extraordinary in the history of humankind. Let us do it by our expressions of love and thanks until our creations are blessed by our reverence this day. So may it be.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
To everything it is written, there is a season. And now it is the season for me to say goodbye. It's interesting to me that I say goodbye to you in the season where I live, of wild, abundant harvest. As I speak to you, my garden is full of kale and cabbage and zinnias and tomatoes and green beans and zucchini, all out there saying, ready, ready, harvest me, harvest me. And indeed, for CLF, it is a time of harvest. And so I want to share with you the bounty that I have harvested here, no less than that which I gather each morning in my garden, nourishing, full of life. The first thing I harvest as I depart the CLF, which I will preserve and hold, is all of the love within this community. Week after week, you come to worship and you share heartbreak and struggle, and then you reach out and you support one another, and you realize that together we can hold what we can't hold alone. That's always one of the most meaningful parts of the worship service for me, seeing each of you reach out in love and care to the others, even if you simply witness it. We know that you're there. We know that we are together in our joy and in our sorrow and our struggle. I have watched people here companion each other through death and loss and illness and trauma in ways that I carry with me. And it has been my privilege to speak to you, to write with you, to be in touch with you as you share your hearts and your souls with me. So first and foremost, the harvest here is of the love that we have shared. All of you who have helped to make this community what it is, my beloved staff and learning fellows and board members and committee members and Facebook moderators and fundraisers and donors and supporters and all of you who email me just to say hello. You make this community, and I harvest those relationships even as I let go of the form, even as I let go of being your minister. I carry you with me. I carry the love that this community is made of with me. That's my first harvest. Second, I carry with me all the ways that I have seen people on the edges manifest life, manifest hope, manifest companionship and love in extremely difficult situations. So many of you carry marginalized identities of many kinds, and with those you carry dignity and pride and self-love. Sure, you struggle, we all do, but I see you. I see you carrying that. I know your strength. No one embodies this more for me than our incarcerated members. Over 40% of who we are now, who write regularly about how Unitarian Universalism has saved their lives. They say things like Kenneth did, who says, I refuse to become the beast they want me to be. I am a spiritual person. You claim your divinity, even as you claim your radical imperfection, even as we all know that we struggle, we mess up, we make mistakes. And that is the third blessing that this community brings me, the blessing of radical imperfection and yet acceptance. You know, we have a slogan at CLF, which many of you have heard many times over the years, always in beta. Always in beta. That means we're never going to get it all right. We're always going to be messing up. We're always going to be learning. We're always going to say, next time, let's try that. Because that's who we are. We're a learning community because we believe that faith is alive. It's not something canned that we hold on to like you hold, a rock. It's the river that the rock is in. And we know this. We know that faith lives in us or nowhere. And we know this despite, or maybe because of, how radically imperfect we are, and yet the grace which is extended to us each day. This amazing sense of grace that surrounds us, that supports us, even in the moments when we make really heartbreaking mistakes, when relationships are broken. We see that there's some love holding us together, holding us. As invisible as we are to one another as we live all over the globe, and yet so steady, so persistent, so whispering in our ear, even when we're hopeless. Oh, but look here. Oh, but remember this. And so these are the treasures, the bounty, the harvest that I carry with me as I go. And I offer them to you because the earth is abundant. The earth says to me every day, you'd better share this or you're going to be overwhelmed. The earth, our most generous partner, always gives us abundance, and that's what we can offer each other. And so I offer you these gifts, the gift of love, the love that's here, the love that's everywhere if we look around. The world is made of tiny acts of care. And so many of you live lives where your own health or the health of someone you love or some other circumstance requires that you pay complete attention to caring, maybe for one person. But that care matters. That care is what the world is made of. Those tiny acts of love, they are the revolution. They make the world go around. So I offer them to you. I offer you the opportunity again today to care for yourself, to care for the earth, to care for those you know and those you will never meet, to care for those you'll never live to see. And I offer you the gift of reaching out to those who live radically different lives than your own, who can teach you. You can read what they write, you can share what they say, listen to people whose experience is not your own, because that's where learning happens. You know, if we only hung around with people just like us, we would be so boring and the world would be so boring. It becomes three-dimensional, it becomes animated, it becomes lively when our worlds are inhabited by people who know different things than we know and share them with us. And so I invite you to the gift, particularly of caring for the margins, of caring for the people, of saying who's not in the room. And that's who I want to hear from, who's never listened to, because we need to know what they have to say. I offer you that gift of caring for the margins. Become a pen pal with an incarcerated member. Get to know somebody who's very different from you. And finally, I offer you the gift of your own radical imperfection. I offer you the gift of knowing that, in the words of the theologian Paul Tillich, you are accepted even though unacceptable, that nothing you can do or not do makes the universe cease to hold you. Nothing you do or not do causes you to leave that interdependent web of all existence that Unitarian Universalists uphold. I offer you the gift of radical growth, learning, and always knowing that you're going to mess up. You're going to mess up, just like CLF has messed up over and over again and still creates so much love in the world. You too, as imperfect as you are the channel of love that can make a difference. And so the gift I offer to you is knowing that, claiming that, and even enjoying that. Blessed be. I'll be out making new mistakes, harvesting new gardens, and still loving you, still remembering this precious place. I'm so excited for where CLF goes next. I can't wait to watch from afar. I love you.
As a member of the Board of Trustees of the Church of the Larger Fellowship, I'm happy to share with you that we have voted to make Meg Riley Minister Emerita of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. While she will no longer be our senior minister, this title indicates the deep esteem that we have for her for the outstanding work that she has done for CLF over the last 10 years. I think it also means that we want to keep her in our hearts forever.
Thank you, Martha, and thank you to the board. This means a great deal to me. It's a real honor to join Reverend Jane Jepka and Reverend O. Eugene Pickett as the Minister Emeriti of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. I couldn't be more proud to be forever associated with such a wonderful place. Thank you.
For each child that was born, Laura Steele made it her most serious business to finish a quilt. She had begun considering the colors, the texture, the softness, the shape, the weave, from the moment she heard the news. It turned out to be so many of us. It started to surprise me to watch as her excitement grew along with the family, and therefore her project list. My great-grandmother, matriarch of my great family, Laura Steele, left this plane of living just this past month. She had spent 101 years on the earth in conversation with fiber and faith. My first cogent thought after hearing this truth was of the particular blue she had knit in the quilt for my birth. It has always deeply blessed me to consider that before I was even born, someone on the earth was so excited by the very idea of me, they had to tell the rest of the world in softness and bright blue. I'm asking you into this tradition now. Help me to weave a tapestry from wherever you are, to wrap Meg in our gratitude and warm wishes on the edge of her unfolding chapter. As Allison offers a blanket of note and rhythm, threads knit from imagination and sound color, as best you can, will you also create a patch for the quilt made of love? Don't type just yet. There will be time. There's no rush. For now, take a few moments with me to consider what you might offer to the tapestry. How does thank you sound? What does it look like from your vantage? After that, I'll ask you to type a brief blessing. Thank you to Meg for the many, many ways her ministry has been its own blessing to the world and your own unravel of time. Together, our potential is enormous to fashion a gift to anoint the path ahead. With prayer, thanksgiving, patches of memory to a present moment warm in their embrace. Settle with me as you are able. Let us begin with quiet consideration. Let us prepare our parts with joy and love. Now, let us weave the tapestry of love into a gift together. I invite your words of gratitude and your expressions of love.
Where do we come from? Where do we come from? What are we? 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 What are we? What are we? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? What are we? Where do we come from? What are we? Where do we come from? What are we? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Come from? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where come from? Where we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? What are we? 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 Where do we come from? Where are we? Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where are we going?
What Do You Do with an Idea? By Kobe Yamada, with illustrations by May Basom. One day, I had an idea. Where did it come from? Why is it here? I wondered, what do you do with an idea? At first, I didn't think much of it. It seemed kind of strange and fragile. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just walked away from it. I acted like it didn't belong to me. But it followed me. I worried what others would think. What would people say about my idea? I kept it to myself. I hid it away and didn't talk about it. I tried to act like everything was the same as it was before my idea showed up. But there was something magical about my idea. I had to admit I felt better and happier when it was around. It wanted food. It wanted to play. Actually, it wanted a lot of attention. It grew bigger, and we became friends. I showed it to other people, even though I was afraid of what they would say. I was afraid that if people saw it, they would laugh at it. I was afraid they would think it was silly. And many of them did. They said it was no good. They said it was too weird. They said it was a waste of time and that it would never become anything. And at first, I believed them. I actually thought about giving up on my idea. I almost listened to them. But then I realized, what do they really know? This is my idea, I thought. No one knows it like I do. And it's okay if it's different and weird and maybe a little crazy. I decided to protect it, to care for it. I fed it good food. I worked with it. I played with it. But most of all, I gave it my attention. My idea grew and grew, and so did my love for it. I built it a new house, one with an open roof where it could look up at the stars, a place where it could be safe to dream. I liked being with my idea. It made me feel more alive, like I could do anything. It encouraged me to think big, and then to think bigger. It shared its secrets with me. It showed me how to walk on my hands, because, it said, it is good to have the ability to see things differently. I couldn't imagine my life without it. Then, one day, something amazing happened. My idea changed right before my very eyes. It spread its wings, took flight, and burst into the sky. I don't know how to describe it, but it went from being here to being everywhere. It wasn't just a part of me anymore. It was now a part of everything. And then I realized what you do with an idea. You change the world. The end.
And CLF offered a space to find my footing and become more confident, and being in a collective of learning fellows. It wasn't just me and the senior minister. It wasn't just me and Meg. It wasn't just me and staff. It was many of us figuring out, what does it mean to be a minister? What does it mean to be ministering together in community?
It got me out of the New England Unitarian Universalism that I was very much steeped in. And it allowed me to have experiences with Unitarian Universalists from around the country.
I think about not only the skills that I learned at CLF, but also just the mentality about what it means to minister to people when you can't be together in the same space, and just how possible that is and how deeply needed that is in our world for so many people that, again, cannot or will not gather in the ways that we've been gathering for hundreds of years. So the idea that we can do things differently and explore and make mistakes are things that I've learned through my CLF Learning Fellowship, through having Meg as a mentor, both while I was at CLF and beyond, and also needing to model that for my congregation and for myself, that, we can try new things, do it all right, and hopefully make deeper connections possible than we could if we didn't try things outside of the box. And it's things like that I really take away from my time at CLF and from my time learning with Meg.
I needed Meg, and I needed the Church of the Larger Fellowship. in order to continue on my ministry, to have somebody else to see my ministry in me, to do that I had that ability, is the most important thing that I got out of that. And I'm totally selfish about it. I don't know if that helped anybody else, but it helped me. And that's the thing I am the most grateful for Meg's legacy, and I really hope will continue on. That there are a lot of really great ministers out there who get chewed up by the system, and I think Meg is one of those people who is a minister's minister.
I've also just got a profound level of mentoring from Reverend Meg. She protected me from my worst impulses. She helped me develop a much deeper compassion for all the folks that we were working with. And she made me much more savvy as a minister. And I'm just so grateful for all those things. So support this program. Open your wallet right now.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Because we are trying to build a vessel tight and defiant of our cultural foolishnesses, we must become something else in this moment. If we want power to work elsewise in the world, then blame and accountability must work elsewise in our church. We may not fall prey to the habits we've learned, practiced, or not. We may not blame the coming leaders as if the church is only theirs or the church is only ours. We may not feel exhausted or satisfied merely by the donation of money if we expect the church to work tirelessly. There is a cycle, a flood that must be broken, where not knowing what to do is cause enough not to do much, where a well-resourced, well-organized, fierce torrent is not the automatic response we have to the democratic sin of state-sanctioned lethal injustice anywhere, where not knowing what to do with an idea or how to do it ceases and pauses the difference we make, where we measure our potency by its limits and ounces of energy go to waste, run aground on division, distractions, disdain, and debate where conversations should be. The cycle is foolish. The flood must be broken. We break it. The moral arc, says Parker and King and Obama, is long. It is proven long, but it bends toward justice. Be careful. The moral arc bends to justice when the people learn how to reach up, their attention unflinching and strategy steady, and stay until it comes round to its rightful place. Gather together. The weight of our will and our work can draw down the line of unfairness when we decide to reach up and do it. There's a cycle of compassion as wide as the space we're willing to give it, where the frayed edges of forgotten dreams meet the strong edges of others. The fatigue and focus on bending the arc will make beautiful community seem like a luxury over time, but communing wisely and well, learning to love again, peace, learning to love, learning again, learning to realize again the compassions of our hearts into the shape of useful change again and again, preparing our children to harness the community's power for world change. This is exactly the scaffolding that gives our work a chance in the first place. Here, in the unraveling moment of now, as a week begins now and an era, let us not be satisfied to measure this time by what we lack, but in our will to do the steady work of forming community, nurturing each other to love and strength and joy and action in our own quiet ways and sonorous ways. Let us assemble even inches from the teeth of hatred with dazzling difference and common purpose, and prepare the earth for the growing circle of love, the great surprise that makes love come to life.
In the words of E.E. Cummings, I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. Whatever the forces of time and space that separate us, we carry one another's hearts forward in our hearts. We don't extinguish this flame, we merely broaden it, sending it out to be held as sparks in each of our hearts, so that each of us may carry the flame. I invite you to touch your heart and to say aloud or in the chat, I carry the flame.
Hi, CLF. I'm with you today from the shores of Bone Lake, an old glacial lake in Wisconsin. I'm here to offer some words on leadership transitions, and I'm here at this lake because I think that it is a good metaphor for the leadership transition that you're moving through. Now, metaphors are imperfect, and there's always the danger of one being overdone or overwrought. But bear with me. If you look at this lake, what you see is a body of water that is at once always in motion and also has a sense of solidity and permanence to it. This is particularly true for these old and deep glacial lakes like this one, carved from the earth by thousands of years and unimaginable tons of ice and rock that made this land what it is long before any of us were present. When I touch a lake like this, I feel like I'm touching a history that spans far into the past and extends far into the future. We are here but for a moment. This lake and others like it will remain. The comparison I'm drawing to church is probably pretty clear, right? That you, the church of the larger fellowship, are like this lake, always in motion, and yet there are things about you that remain. Leadership changes, but mission and purpose stay steady. Which reminds me, this lake is fed by a spring back there. If you were to zoom in on it and look carefully, you would see an outflow of water feeding the lake and replenishing it. There are several springs like that around this lake, each contributing to the overall balance of the ecosystem that the lake is. Water comes in, water goes out. Leadership changes, mission remains steady. I'm going to stop pushing this metaphor too far right now, because I think my message is clear. We are going to miss Reverend Meg's leadership, and at the same time, we are so excited for the leadership team that is coming in. They will meet you and your mission, and like all ministers and religious educators do, they will meet you, they will hold, they will shape, they will reflect back to you who you are and who you could be. And together, you will work to make that vision, those hopes and those aspirations real in the world for you, for this church right now, as well as those who come after. Blessed be, and amen.
A benediction for Meg. As we prepare to say goodbye to you, Meg, we know that your spirit pervades CLF, and so we bless your departure, and we know that some part of you will also stay with us always.
Go well and know that you stay in our hearts. In this congregation made of love, your kindness and generosity, your devotion to our members, included our beloved who are incarcerated, will inspire us to create new connections and opportunities to love the hell out of our world.
Go well and know that you stay in our actions. In this congregation devoted to dismantling systems of oppression and injustice, we will call upon your resolve as we break through the barriers of privilege and meet with the resistance of entrenched power.
Go well and know that you stay in our thoughts. In this congregation that is always in beta, your call for experimentation and learning will instruct our willingness to try new things, to take bold risks, and to always be open to new truth.
Go well to serve our Unitarian Universalist faith as co-moderator.
Go well to enjoy your retirement and to pursue new avenues of justice making in the world.
Go well and know that you also stay with us in spirit. Amen.
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 If we want peace in the world, we've got to work on, work on, work on. If we want peace in the world, we've got to do on. survive in this world today. And every day we've got to march on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to march on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to work on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to work on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to teach on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to teach on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to sing on if we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to sing on. Sing every day we've got to sing on. Sing every day we've got to sing on if we want hope to survive in this world today. Sing every day we've got to sing on, sing on. If we want hope to survive in this world today. And every day we've got to sing on, we've got to sing on, 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 sing on.